Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Big Guy Board Games here. Just wanted to bring you a little quick thing before we get into review. I am incredibly sorry about the mic quality going on. As you can see, I didn't have my dead cat, so I do apologise for the pops. I will get it sorted next time. Have enjoyed the review. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first episode of Big Guy Board Games. So I figured to myself, I have a pretty big board game collection. Might as well review some board games I own. Don't know if you've guessed, I am of course the titular board game big guy. Me, big guy. So today I thought, let's start simple. Let's start with something that I know a lot about, because I own a lot of it. So today we're going to start by dropping the fucking board game. We're going to start with Zombicide. Oh, we're back. And you might also be wondering to yourself, big guy, why do you keep moving the microwave when you've got a monodirectional microphone? The answer to that is because I'm an idiot. You might also be wondering, big guy, why are you breathing so heavily? I'm a big guy. We breathe heavily. Got a deviated septum up there. Can't really breathe through my nose. It's all just big, panting, gaspy breaths. Zombicide, one of my favourite board games, made by Guillotine Games and Cool or Not Mini. No, Cool Mini or Not Cool or Not Mini. Fuck. You'd think, given that I own like an entire goddamn shelf down there, I'll show you that in a minute, that I would know the name of the company by now. Clearly not. So, as you might be able to tell from the artwork, Zombicide is a cooperative game aimed around surviving the zombie apocalypse and killing the shit out of zombies. And I must say it does it in glorious fashion. Before we get further into review, let us just say that I am a huge fan of Zombicide. Again, I own most of their products. I'll show you in a minute. I'm a huge fan. I love zombies. I don't actually love zombies. That would be a bit creepy and a bit weird. I love the zombie theme. I love the idea of a zombie apocalypse. I don't actually want it to happen, just love it thematically. Let's get that straight. Any of you people, any of my friends, you know who you are, who think, damn, I hate people, let's actually hope for zombies. You're a fucking moron, because you're going to die. Dead. We might talk a big game, but we're all out of shape nerds. Cardio is important. We don't do that. None of us. Except like two. And you fuckers are weedy. And one of you is dumb. I love you, you know who you are, but you dumb. Zombicide is terrific value for money to start with. A lot of people, when they talk about board games, are very concerned about value for money. This is one of the best. Regardless of the fact that I have spent a shit ton of money buying all of the peripherals, this one box, this one initial Zombicide box, is so fucking thick. It's nearly as big as my giant fucking head. So, a tale of Zombicide. One day, I think 5, 6, I don't know how many fucking years ago, some years ago, I strolled into my local hobby store. In my local hobby store, there was one of the owners of said hobby store. The gentleman is a very good salesman and also knows that I am incredibly fucking easy to sell to. He basically thrust this big fucking box in my face and told me about its contents. I immediately bought it and got an erection that has never gone. It's still there. As you can tell, this game is pretty worn because this is Zombicide Season 1. Kickstarted, I believe, and I think all of them have been incredibly successfully kickstarted. But as I say, great value for money. Theme is brilliant. You're a team of survivors trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. So, it's pretty simple, right? Let's get into what's in the box. It also helps when your friends put the stuff away properly. They didn't put the stuff away properly. So, in this box, we have several features. My box is quite packed out because where we have so many down there in my board game collection, we've sort of assembled them into each. Like one box has all the zombies, etc. So, in there, you will find, at first, this is your lovely array of hero models plus the abomination. We'll talk about that later. Just to point out, all the models in this box are phenomenal. Okay? Yes, they are the highest detail models, but they are mass producers, and there are hundreds of models in this box. If nothing else, even if you actually don't want to play this board game, One of the features I've used this for, just for the box alone, is I've used them for roleplays. I've used them for stand-ins for games of Warhammer. You know, any number of things that you just want models of zombies for. You've got models of zombies. Fuck. I'm going to start painting all of mine soon. If you were just an avid painter, you could just buy this and paint a shitload of zombies. That's just the heroes. Okay, bear with me. You then have this box, right? This box is absolutely filled to the brim with zombies. It's shit tons of zombies. Just going to try and show you this without flinging the fucking zombies everywhere. So, as you can see, there are 2 rows of zombies here. There's what? 4 by 7? So there is like fucking 42 zombies in here. Right, and this is just the base game. So your survivors are a ragtag bunch of everyday people with various special abilities they will use for the various challenges that are in Zombie Land, not the film. So, when we look at the zombies, in the initial box set we have 4 different types of zombies. We have walkers, your standard, everyday, run-of-the-mill motherfucking walker. They take 1 action per turn. This will be important later when I explain how to play the game. Then we have runners. Runners are deadly little bastards who run twice per turn. They will what you will find most of your time you will be planning around. Then we have fatties. Now fatties are interesting because they take slightly higher damage to kill than any other walker. And they also appear higher in the targeting priority. Again, something we'll cover in a bit. But when they do spawn, they bring 2 normal walkers along with them. Nasty. They can very much overrun you very quickly while sheltering all their little bastard friends. Here's we're going to talk about the character cards. Character cards, now, they're very interesting because they will show you the abilities thrown from left to right. Now, you'll notice that as you go over blue, you have an initial ability. All of these abilities are explained in the rulebook. But everyone has a sort of ability or a free action at blue. Then at yellow, they have every single one has +1 action. Then at orange, you have 2 different abilities, and at red, you have 3. Zombie you kill gives you 1 experience. When you hit 7, I believe it's 7 or 8, you're into yellow. Then you immediately get +1 action. When you go up more and you hit orange, you pick one of those 2 abilities, and when you hit red later in the game, you pick one of the 3 abilities. Now, of course, you're getting stronger, but zombies spawn. And when zombies spawn point, we draw one of these spawn cards. Now, as you can see on the spawn cards, we have blue, yellow, orange, and red, corresponding to the colours of the danger zones you will find on your character sheets. Now, as you can notice, they get distinctly worse as you go up. Now, the thing about it is danger zones are not determined they're not determined sort of by group average. They are determined by player average. Whoever has the highest danger zone, that is the danger zone that is going to spawn. So, Zombicide introduces a really interesting team dynamic because, yes, you can have one person sort of run away with the game really early on, hit orange, hit red. I mean, red's less likely because it's like 40 plus zombies. But, you know, run away and hit orange, that's not that difficult. But if you do, and everyone else is still in blue, then you're going to be spawning a hell of a lot of zombies, and you are the one who needs to take them out. So, you know, it introduces really interesting team dynamic because then no one wants to be that guy, or at least you shouldn't be that guy, because you might have just cost everyone the game. So, in Zombicide, you can take 3 actions per turn. Of course, you can take 4 or more when you get extra actions, but those actions, majoritively, are move. You can move 1 zone per action. Attack, either melee or ranged. You can search. You can just search for random equipment. That can only be done indoors. You can break down doors. And you can make noise. We will talk about why I think that's pointless very soon. You can also do nothing, which is a very valid point at certain times. Okay. Also in the box, you will find several of these absolutely gorgeously made, very robust as well, double-sided map tiles. As you can see, if we have a look here, the map is obviously you'd have another one up here, but it's divided into several sections. Inside here we have 3 separate rooms. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate areas on the road. These are all denoted quite subtly. You know, a lot of board games have big fucking like black lines for everything. Grid system. This is your square. Zombicide sort of does it a little more naturally. So, you know, rooms and houses are broken up by rooms. You can be anywhere in that room, but you're in that room. There's no sort of subgrid to divide it. All the outside squares are divided by crossings and roadwalks. It's a very interesting dynamic. As you search, you can get different weapons. Now, if we have a look at a weapon card, down the bottom here, this shows us, one, if it's noisy or not. That, again, can be important. Also shows us the range, shows us how many dice we roll, shows us what we need to score on those dice to score wounds. And then the interesting part is the number at the end doesn't show us how many wounds it causes, it shows us the damage bracket. Now, this is a very simple but clear distinction to make, because a lot of new players trip up on this mechanic. Now, for example, if I'm using a weapon that rolls 1 dice on a 4-up, damage bracket 2. That does not kill 2 walkers, because walkers only have damage bracket 1. Still only kills a walker. Basically, you can only kill equal to the number of dice you have, not equal to the damage bracket. Damage bracket comes into play with the fatties and the abomination. Fatties needs damage bracket 2 weapons to kill them, and the abomination needs damage bracket 3. Now, in the base game, if memory serves, there are no direct weapons to kill the abomination. You have to use the Molotov cocktail, which is a result of finding bottle and fuel, I think it is, or something along those lines, and combining those to make the Molotov, which kills everything in the square you throw it at, including allies. Keep that in mind. It's very interesting as well, because a lot of games, obviously when you're in the melee combat, you can hit whoever you want. You can target whoever. Now, obviously, the idea would be to get ranged weapons. Stay far away from the zombies. They can't hurt me if we're in range. It's brilliant. Great idea. Maybe even get your friend Bob over there to go stand in the way of the zombies for a while. Exceptional idea. Everyone praise Bob for the saviour while we shoot around him. No, it's not how it works in Zombicide. They've introduced it's a good mechanic. It's a solid mechanic, right? It's improved upon later in other expansions, but the base idea is very good. So on the back you have a quick reference, and down the bottom here we can see a targeting priority. Now, targeting priority is basically when you shoot into a combat, who will get hit first. So you go walkers, runners, fatties, and abominations. Okay, particularly if you shoot into a combat with 2 walkers and a fatty and score 2 hits, even if they're damage bracket 2, you'll kill the 2 walkers first rather than the fatty. Also, players top that chart every single time. So if you shoot into a combat with Bob in it, you've got to ventilate Bob before you can hit any zombies. It's an annoying mechanic at times, but there are certain abilities that let you work around it, and it is improved upon later. And it's there for a good reason, to be fair. Okay, so there are certain... Oh, also, very quickly, 2 wounds and you're dead. And zombies, this is the interesting part, you can roll all the fucking dice you want. You can be king ding-a-ling. Zombies will auto-hit you and wound you at the end of your turn. If you're in a square of a zombie and its turn starts, they attack, and then if they have nothing to attack, they move. So if you're in the same square, you die. And the second hit kills you. It's Zombicide. This is what I love so much about Zombicide. It's so fucking tense. It's so tense because it seems really simple. Dead Rising on the board. Let's go. Throw the dice. I've got a fucking chainsaw. Ring, 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 ring. No. You've got a plan. Like, you really have to plan this shit. Because if you don't, you can get jumped upon. And, like, those zombie spawners don't just spawn extra zombies. Sometimes they give extra activations. So, zombies on the board, all zombies of a certain type will get another move. We had a game a couple of days ago. 14 zombies moved onto my square. 14. And unless you have a certain ability, you can't move off from that. You can, when you move off, when you try to move, you have to use an action for each zombie on there. And I only had 4 activations. So, what, I'm at minus 10 activations? No, I can't fucking move. So, yeah, second one kills you. Tense. Lots of team play. There are downsides to it, of course. As I mentioned, the shooting mechanic can be a bit at times. Sometimes, unless you have the sharpshooter ability or the sniper rifle, which lets you pick your targets, it can feel like a distinct downside because you basically need to be playing first. And the first player token goes round robin. You need to be kind of first because if your mate Bob, who's melee happy, gets in there, as I say, Bob needs to be filled full of fucking holes. But then this leads to another upside because sometimes you have to make that decision. Sometimes Bob will decide, so I advise so highly that you talk to your friends when you're playing this game. Communication, you need to work this shit out. Solo play, you will get fisted like an Armenian slave child if you try to solo play this. That's not to say you can't succeed solo play, but I would not advise it. I would not advise it. And then sometimes it makes these really cool scenarios where Bob does charge in. Bob kills as many as he can, but he knows he is now going to die to the rest of the players in the team for the good of the group. He knows that if Charlie can shoot in, she can kill everyone, including him, and then Joe can run and pick up the motherfucking objective. Simple. It adds some really cool team dynamics, but again, I understand it can be super frustrating. And one of the other big downsides, it's not a downside, I just think it's unnecessary. There's a noise mechanic in the game, okay? So essentially, obviously, if zombies can't see you, they're attracted by noise, and it will determine where they go. Now, you get a fuckload of noise tokens in this board game. We have never, ever, ever fucking used them. See, the problem is, every survivor, regardless of doing no actions, being completely silent, whatever, counts as one noise. Now, if 4 of you, keep in mind it's a, I think, 1 to 6 player game. If 3 or 4 of you in one half of the map, zombies are going to be moving that way. Again, I fully appreciate there are definitely circumstances where it matters. There 100% are. But, for the most part, one survivor will need there's a noisemaker ability that lets you always count as making the most noise. Aside from that, one player can't really outnoise everyone unless everyone is specifically doing nothing. And he is intentionally being loud as fuck. So, yeah. So, I mean, you would, right. Basically, everything I've got outlined for you is, apart from a few little things here and there, you're good to go. Guys, you can play Zombicide right now. But you might be thinking, oh, that sounds like a really simple game. Doesn't that get boring? Well, games can take a long time, and you might think they get boring. I mean, we didn't find it boring for a long time. And yes, you might be right. However, Guillotine Games has got you covered. They've released a shitload of expansions, which they diversify the rule set so much. They had new zombies, they had new weapons, they had zombie survivors, they had dogs, they had crows. Right, anyway. We will be covering those all in separate episodes. Each one will have a separate episode because technically they are different board games because they're different seasons. They're expandalones. So, please tune in again. It has been my privilege and my honour, Big Guy Board Games here, to teach you a little bit about Zombicide. Get it? It's fucking great. Love it very much. Guys, have a wonderful evening. See you all later.